You are about to listen to the Redhead Boy podcast, available on Spotify and wherever you get your podcasts from. Now enjoy the show.
Do you want to build a snowman?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
That's funny. Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the Redhead Boy podcast, hosted by me, Harry Allen. Thank you for joining me on this snowy day. That's why I played the the funny version of Do You Want to Build a Snowman? There's so many different versions of that taking the piss, including a couple of rude ones, but I picked that one because I thought it was the most funny. So I hope you guys are enjoying this snowy weather today. I don't know, I might go out in it a bit later. Depends. People that know me know that I'm not the best on slippery surfaces. So I may just enjoy the view from the window today. We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, but today, this is the second part 2 of mine and Miles's chat that we had last week. As I said in the part 1, we chatted for about 2 hours, so I thought it was good that I'd cut it in half. And this is the second half. We chat about our relationships and loads of different stuff. Also talking about celebrity scandal. So without revealing much else, here is the second part of our chat together. Yeah.
Have you watched any?
What have I watched recently? I watched because everybody was talking about it, and I wanted to watch it with my partner. I watched the Channel 4 talking about AIDS. It's a Sin, the new. Yeah, it's on.
Oh, yeah, I've
and it's
I've
set in
seen.
the,
I've seen it, like the trailer for it, but I haven't obviously watched it yet. So
yeah, no,
that'd be a good one.
I'm like equally as crap with names, so I don't know
Yeah.
the names of anybody that's in it, but I know it's the guy that like wrote it and everything has done a lot of like gay like related stories. He did like Cucumber and Banana on Channel 4 as well, so he's known for like
Okay, yeah, so very phallic.
yeah,
Like it goes to the very phallic names for his things.
anything penis shaped. Anyone? Anything penis shaped?
Yeah, Cucumber, Banana, Pen. We'll have a film called Bratwurst,
and it's set in
Yeah.
Germany.
and it's set in Germany in World War II.
It sounds like it sounds like a mix of a Monty Python sketch and like, you know. Yes, no, Major, we do not do that type of thing here.
No, that's ridiculous. In the army, no, we're proper men here. We don't do any of that sort of nonsense.
That was quite good.
There you go. My girlfriend says I should be a voice actor, and I'm just like, no, absolutely not. Because I get really bad. Like I have a really sort of like animated voice, but if you put a camera in front of me, I just shut down. I remember like making the I'm taking it back to film school now. But like making the sort of GoFundMe video for our film and raising money. It's so cringe, man. Like just being in front of the camera and trying to talk, I forget words. I'm like, this I can do weirdly. Like there's something strangely natural about this. Maybe it's because I've like been in a lot of like lectures recently and seminars and stuff. So talking on camera and stuff is fine. But when you're in front of a film camera and they're like, right, you just need to say that like line that you've got memorized in your head, and yeah,
Tell us what
everything
the
will be
film is
okay.
about, and you're like, I don't know.
Mhm.
So,
And then it's like talking to yourself as well. Just be like, fuck, I messed it up. Can we go again? Please, can we go again? Please, for the 100th time, can we go again?
when I do the episodes, like the podcast episodes by myself, I just leave some of that crap in. Like
Yeah.
literally the other week I was drinking tea and I purposely was drinking it really loudly while I was recording it.
Like,
And and then my boyfriend was like, "Why are you making sexual noises in this episode?" I was like, "They're not sexual noises. I'm drinking tea." But yeah, no, I've tried to, because I'm like that as well, and I found myself, when you start off something with good intentions, and then you end up finding yourself taking it a bit too seriously. So
Yeah.
I sort of did that with the podcast. Like I started it, and then I'd be looking at how many people have listened to it today, and I'd be like looking on the app for it all the time, going, how many people? And then I'd be like, oh no, Harry, this is not the reason why you're doing this. You're doing this because you want to do it, and you want to chat to people, and you want to chat about film and TV and whatever creative stuff in general. So, but yeah, with those type of things, it's so hard to just appear to be a normal functioning being.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a being that exists in the primordial soup that is life.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard out here trying to be normal sometimes, just having normal conversations with people. And I'm like, I've been going out with my girlfriend for a while now, and even sometimes that is like I'll have a moment where I'll just forget how to speak to her, and she'll just be like, "What the fuck was that, Miles?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Like,
it's
I
like
just give up on life. Yeah,
it's like I just had a massive brain fart, or it's a mini stroke. It's all right. We're all good. We're all good.
Yeah. Well, I think that's like a big thing with ADHD, though, is I've always struggled with, in my head, I'll have the most eloquent, like,
thing to say
or speech set up, ready to go. And then I'll get on top of it and I fall over all the words, and so like ever having like an argument or a debate with someone is awful for me, because I just get stressed out, because I'm like, I know what I want to say, I just don't know how to say it, and it becomes such a struggle. And yeah, it's like it's definitely like a weird thing, that like challenge that I've like had to try and kind of contend with in life, that I didn't realize for a long time, because I only got diagnosed as an adult that had it. So I was like, there's something off with me, but I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know if this is how all people are. And it turned out it was that. So that was like nice knowing that that was sort of a reason for it.
That's good to get
that.
So to get that clarification of it and stuff.
Yeah, it's very therapeutic to know in itself that, oh, it's just my ADHD. It's got something to blame it on, essentially, when I dumb shit.
Yeah, I'm like that with my cerebral with my dyslexia, and then also I have mild cerebral palsy as well.
Okay.
So when I do like long shifts at work and then my legs start to ache really bad, I just get really cross on my legs. And I'm like, why can't my legs feel like what normal people's legs feel like? Like I should not ache this much. That's why when you said about like that it didn't really appeal to you, of like entering into like the industry and like a shit job, like as a runner of someone getting someone's tea and coffee and all that shit.
Yeah, I'm not above that, by the way. I'm not against people doing that. It's just not for me.
Good for them, because Jesus Christ. That's always been like a thing that I've like been debating like throughout finishing film school. I was like, maybe I should do some like running, and I did do a little bit. I worked on a couple episodes of BBC Flog It for like for a little bit. That was entertaining.
Yeah.
Those
Sounds
like,
entertaining. That sounds like a story in itself. It's like worth it for like just the fact that you could bring that up at like a party sometime. It's like I worked on Flog It.
yeah, no, I feel like that's I feel like
people's ears would prick up to that. Flog It.
yeah, I feel like
Flog
that.
It, you say. I love Flog It.
I feel like that's my only like like claim to fame.
Yeah.
Like that was like back in 2016, and I'm like, this should not be the start of a conversation. Like so many years later.
I like the idea you open with that as well. Like that's the first thing you say to someone. You're just like, I was on Flog It. And they're like,
yeah,
just like no,
yeah.
well, okay.
Yeah, and then I always end up going, or like I remember saying it like at going back to my like secondary school and saying, oh, I've done some work for the BBC. I was like, fuck off, Harry, you done some work. You done like a couple of days of work.
That's how you got to sell yourself.
I know.
Though.
That's
it's like
thing.
I've worked for the Channel 4. I've worked for the BBC.
Yeah, it's like so much like, yeah, you just gotta like, you know, it's almost getting that turd out and just rolling it in glitter to just make it look a little bit
fake
better.
it till you make it, isn't it?
Yeah.
But so many people do it. It's the thing, like, that's so many people. It's like, no, you fucking haven't. Like, it's like you worked for a production company that was outsourced by them. It's like, don't fucking kid me.
Like, yeah, you end up turning into like Jay from In Betweeners, you know. Next, you'll be like, my uncle's a Formula One driver, mate.
I mean, great. Like that's the thing with it. It's like, okay, good for you.
Yeah. So, but those people are like that time doing that. Those like elderly people that waited in that like big ass queue for like 6 hours, like waiting there to get their little like, you know, like files that they bought down, you know, a market somewhere.
I remember feeling really bad for the extras on a short film I worked on. I was a camera assistant, and we were in this little shop, and it was the longest film shoot I've ever been on. It was like 17 hours or something. It was like in Hastings. It was a long. It was like from really early in the morning. I woke up and we were there till gone 12, and then like drove home and got back for like 2 a.m. or something. It was really long. Anyway, like the extras that had obviously been not paid or anything to be there were just sat there and unused for what like the longest amount of time, that I don't know how they just sat there and were like, didn't get fed up and went, fuck this, because no one was seeing to them. There was no obligation. Like you get that thing with actors that they're looked after and seen to, but there was no one doing that for the extras. And I don't think that happens a lot. Like, I don't know, like obviously on bigger budget films, obviously probably the case. But yeah, I just feel really bad for people who show up to that stuff and think, I'm going to be on, like, they have this sort of idea of what it's going to be. And a lot of it is just fucking sitting around waiting for another take. And a lot of the time they're not even in the shot. So it's like, we don't need the extras for this one because they're not actually in the shot. Like, and yeah, there's like this old man and these like 2 young girls, and they were just sat there for like 10 hours or something. And I just remember looking across and the girls were just on their phones, like looking down, twiddling their thumbs. And I just felt really bad for them because at least, you know, it was a long shoot, but at least I was doing things. Like they were just sat there and they weren't being paid for it. And there was some sandwiches, but like it was like 1 sandwich per person or whatever. It wasn't like a bountiful supply of food on like a buffet table or something. It was like a few Tesco sandwiches or some shit. Yeah, so I felt really bad for them, and generally feel bad for like extras who just show up to be dogs' bodies for the day.
Yeah,
and that kind of thing.
Yeah. No, I can't believe I'm still a part of this, but like a few years ago, I went to like an open audition for like extras.
Really?
This is in London. This was for a Meryl Streep film called, and it had Hugh Grant in it. It was called, It was called Florence Foster Jenkins. It was a film about like Meryl Streep played like the worst opera singer in history.
Okay, yeah.
And I went just randomly, I saw it
Mhm.
advertised on Twitter or something. I was like, I'm gonna go to this. So me and my brother just went
Yeah.
to London for the day, and I waited in the queue and got like all measured up and stuff. And I didn't bother to
Mhm.
shave that day, and I had this like pretentious bloke like measuring me and like all this stuff. And then he was like, if you get a part, you will shave the beard, won't you? And I was like, well, yes, and all this stuff. And queued there, and then
I like the idea that
like,
it was Hugh Grant saying that to you.
yeah,
You
well,
will shave, won't you? Yes. Yeah, you will shave.
yeah, no, he did sound like very like pretentious, like
Yeah.
you know, a proper posh bloke, like everybody getting
Mhm.
like measured and stuff, and then you end up feeling so much fatter than you actually are when you're getting stuff like that.
Yeah.
And there was like such amazing different walks of life in that queue of like different people. Like some bloke walked in with like a fucking purple mohawk that was like
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And then a few weeks like went past after getting registered, and you get registered on to like Universal Extras, and I'm still on it now, which is stupid because I haven't been
You
on
might
that
get the
like
call one day, Harry. You
like
never know.
you
You
know
might get the call of the
and
call of a lifetime.
you know, and my mum, like, I don't know if you have this with your parents, but my mum was getting like overly excited for me. Like, this could be your in, Harry. You could start this and start like, start doing a bit of this, and then start talking to the crew and start like, get some connections and shit. I was like, yeah, okay, mum, yeah. and,
Just yeah.
and
They get very excited about it, don't they?
yeah,
Like my mum loves to show me off, like
yeah,
with the most. She'll probably do it about this. She'll probably have seen on Facebook that I'm going to be in a podcast. My son's in a podcast. Did you
yeah,
know? Like she'll
yeah,
say that to like someone down the shops or something that she's met
yeah,
5 minutes earlier. My
yeah.
son's in a podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know why she's
No,
posh in
but
this.
no, but shit. Yeah, my mum will even do that, even if I'm not particularly doing that particular thing
Mhm.
at that time. I'd be like, yes, Harry's like writing and getting ready to direct his next film. You're like, Mum, what the fuck are you on about? Like,
4
stop.
years she's been saying that, Harry. You got
Oh
to
yeah.
live up to that.
You'd be like, you're trying to make trying to make your child not look like a loser. Yeah. It's almost like I feel like
Yeah.
that's the thing between mums. They're like, battling with each other, like trying to show off their own children.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So anyway, I got. So
Sorry. Yeah.
I'm so shit at telling stories. I don't know how I managed to write anything. So I get the phone call, and they go, oh yeah, we've got this role for you, like extra, like number 4 or whatever. And can you come down for like a costume like fitting? And me being really stupid, me not living anywhere near London, they're like, oh, can you get to like London, or like do you live near London? And I was like, can I phone you back? And I just need to find out if I can get there. And then that was just like the worst thing to say, because literally like
Yeah.
30 minutes later they were like, sorry, we've already got somebody else.
Yeah.
So that was like my clench to that. And I remember watching the film and I was like, oh, it would have been fun. It
Mhm.
was like set in the 30s. So I was like, oh, the costume would be like sick. Like really enjoy that.
Yeah.
And then the only other time that I got a call was for an extra in Solo, a Star Wars story. I got a
Oh,
call.
really?
Yeah, at that.
The worst of the Star Wars films, arguably. There.
It's all right. They didn't need to make it, but it was all right.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
feel,
it's not the worst. That was being a bit unkind, but
I,
like,
I feel like Ron Howard got given something. He'd be like, sort this out, Ron, please.
yeah, he did. It was like abandon ship. All right, Ron.
Yeah.
Look, this is what we've got to work with.
I
But
feel
yeah.
Yeah, so I got a call for that, and they were like, "Oh, it's like Alien number 4." Like, it was told Alien Slave, and I was like, "Okay."
You can do that.
They were like, "Can we have a picture of you, like, just in like a white top, and like to show like your like physique and stuff?" and I took these like really shitty pictures in my garage, in my mum's garage, and sent it to them. And then they were like, "Oh, it's not. You're not exactly what you're looking for." And I was like, and then I said to my mum, I was like, "It's probably because I'm too fat. I'm like too skinny to be a slave."
No, I think like I was thinking about this. How do they like, when like they uh will send out a casting call?
Mm.
How do they do that for like when they need someone ugly? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, how do they do it politely? Like I just imagine like in like bold font, freaks wanted. Like, what do they? Like I think I saw like for the one of the Lord of the Rings films, the casting call was like peculiar people needed, strange people with weird limbs and pointy noses and sharp jaws. Like it's just a really odd thing to like be like, look, we need people who look bad for this. Like,
yeah.
it's like, and so therefore you need to know that you look bad for one thing, and then you need to have a strong enough sort of sense of yourself of like, that's okay. Like, I'm okay with I look bad. This role is perfect for me. Like, and to be happy with that. Like, it just seems so absurd. Like...
I feel like there's an actor. I feel like there's like actors or out there that like generally fit that particular like stereotype look. It'd be like someone that just looks like a crack addict, and they're like,
yeah,
we
need
me.
A crack addict.
It's me. I got greasy hair, and
yeah. Because I remember that was one of my criticisms when I made my film about the two Welsh heroin addicts. Was like, oh, you should like I'd cast them because I was like went on the performances. That's what I went on. I didn't go on really what they look like because I was like, we can make them look grotty. Like it doesn't fucking matter. And one of the criticisms is, oh, she's not skinny enough to be a crack addict. Do you think like to be a heroin addict? And I was like, what does that look like? They're not all just like malnourished fucking, like
skeletons,
skeletal people. Like they aren't all like that, believe it or not. But that's what people will think, and maybe there's some truth to that. But I sort of felt that was it didn't matter. But I'm sure on a bigger set, people would consider that.
Yeah, it is interesting that stuff like that happens, because then whenever you like write something, like my degree film was about this woman that doesn't particularly have like a strong like a fond opinion about like homeless people, because in my second year I worked on a documentary that was about the homeless, and Brighton is like a lot of homeless in Brighton and stuff.
Yes, there's a big problem there.
So I was like, oh, that was like the seed to the idea. I was like, okay, this could be something that I could like lean on for the next thing. And so I wrote it, and it was about this woman that like ends up not having, at the beginning, doesn't really have a fond opinion or doesn't really see them as people, which let's be honest, the most of society don't really acknowledge them as people as valid individuals. And then she ends up getting mugged and then getting rescued by a homeless bloke, and she spends the film trying to find this bloke to like thank her. Stuff. It sounds like really cheesy now. No, it doesn't. Fuck! I lost my train of thought now. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, so we were talking about stereotypes, weren't we? See, this what happens. Jesus Christ!
See, I got fully enraptured into that story, and then you were like, "Shit story." Anyway, never mind. And then I was like, "No, but I want to know what happens." Does she find him?
Yeah. So she finds him, and the first initial like interaction is that she goes to give him money, and he finds it. He finds that like really offensive. And like says like go away. And as he's going away, something falls out of his bag, like this precious object to him, and he doesn't realize it falls out of his bag and it breaks.
Mhm.
like into pieces, and she takes it home with her and like fixes it together, and then finds him again and goes, "Oh, I fixed this thing for you."
Yeah.
Sort of using it as a thing like, I see you now. I respect that you have a history and
Yeah.
you're a person.
Mhm.
So they end up. She ends up finding out his name, like asking his name, and it ends like that. That they have that first like, "Oh
I
hi."
like the finding out the name thing.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's a really nice moment. See, like
yeah,
I think, don't give up on your
yeah, yeah.
writing, because
I think
that
it's
that's
I think it's so easy as you and everybody that's created this. It's so easy to just shit on your own stuff.
Mhm. Like, oh fuck, this is terrible. The
It's
worst
so
thing is, like,
shit.
I'll have a really good idea at night, like really late at night, and then I'll write it down, and then I'll come back to it in the morning, and I'll look at it, and I'll be like, what the fuck was I thinking? Like, this is
Yeah,
terrible. Yeah, I do
exactly.
it so much and then throw away like the idea, but then like other things sort of stay, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that would be a really good concept. A lot of stuff though is a concept, and I think like it's only after you start thinking about it more does it become like a story. And I think that's my friend the other day was like telling me her sort of idea for something, and I was just like, okay, I like, it's an interesting concept, but like what's the story to it, kind of thing. And then she ended up getting really stressed out because she was just like, I haven't got a story yet, all right, I haven't got a fucking story, just an idea. It's like, I was like, okay, fair enough, I just wanted to know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Then you feel like your inner like Alkin coming up, but like, what's the
yeah.
story though? And
Yeah, doing an Alkin
oh.
just like, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's just a
yeah.
concept.
But what's the meaning of it? And then you're like, I don't fucking know. I'm only on page 2. or,
Yeah.
or sometimes you write the entire thing and you go, I still don't really know what this is about, really. I
Mhm.
don't know. I don't know what the message is, really.
That's the beauty of it though, because it's like you sometimes know exactly how it's going to end, but you don't know how you're going to get there. Other
Yeah.
times it's that you know what you want to write, but you don't know why you're like what it's about, or particularly where the like sort of hook is, or how you're going to end it, or anything. You're just like, I find this concept interesting, and you're sort of exploring it and you're finding out as you go. And I think there's no right or wrong way to do it, and that's kind of the beauty of writing something sometimes. And I just love that feeling when it clicks, like it clicks into place, and you're like, oh fuck, like this is what I've been like working towards. It's just a really nice feeling. And then you like, for me, I'm just like, at that point I'm like, okay, well now I've written it, that's all I want to do with it, so I'm just gonna leave it there now, and
Put it away.
like
Put it
put it
away.
in a drawer and forget about it forever. Yeah.
Yeah, like I remember feeling like, or trying to feel confident with myself after finishing the like degree, and I made like a slate of like projects that I wanted to make in the next like few years. I did like a
Yeah.
timeline and everything of like what, like when they were going to come out and everything. And
Yeah.
literally like last year I looked at it and I was like, haven't made that, haven't made that, haven't made that. Like literally the entire thing, like no, 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 no.
Mhm. Best intentions, isn't it though?
Yeah, yeah. It's just, yeah, you get that, you get that like oomph to want to, and then it's just
Mhm.
sometimes it can just be so hard to just like get get push it
Yeah.
through.
And it's
But,
like being surrounded by other people who want to do it with you is the other thing,
mm,
which I think is something, from film school that you don't get a lot of in the wider world if you're not constantly around other
yeah,
like creative people or whatever who are sort of on board with that. Like I could want to make a film now, write it, be at a point of production like where it's like ready to film or whatever, get it to that point near enough on my own. But unless you've got like someone who's skilled enough to film it for you, and someone who's skilled enough to do the audio, all of those other parts, like
mm,
it's really hard to make a film on your own. Like it's near impossible, like with just even like 2 or 3 people. Like you need at least like 5 people to make something where I would probably be happy with it. I think like just to be used in certain ways as a small production entity. But to get 5 reliable people that are gonna like be able to carry that vision with you like through the whole thing and stick with it and not let anything else sort of get in the way of that. Well, what's your incentive? I mean, if you're doing it on no budget, you can't pay them. Like there's they have to want to do it.
And everybody gets busy with their own stuff and all.
And yeah, exactly. And then life happens. So people obviously, aren't always going to be around, or they might be like, yeah, I'll come for like a day because it's an interesting thing for that day. But what if it's like a week shoot and you're asking them to put a week of their life in your hands of making this film? It's like, are they going to want to do it? Like, and it's like making sure you have people around you that want to do that. I don't currently have anything like that. Like I have friends who are, in the industry, but no one who lives near me really, who I'd be able to do that with. So I think that's another struggle to it is like, and that's what always stops me at those moments when I'm like, oh, I've got a really good idea for a film. I'm like, could put it together, and then I'm like, oh, it'd be really hard to film. And then I'm like, oh, never mind, kind of thing. So it's hard to not get into those negative thoughts before you've already made it. But like at other points, like it sort of just comes together. Like obviously, I want to do this podcast because that's another outlet, like in the same way that you've done yours, and I think that's important, is looking at other ways to do it. Been looking at doing sort of making a short like visual novel like style video game with a friend. So I've been looking into that. That's something you can do in a way that's doesn't need a full scale sort of production of it. You can kind of do it in your own time and do everything separately and put it together. So there's other ways you can do it, but it's difficult if you just want to make like a film with some people, like trying to find those reliable people. It's lonely out here sometimes.
Sometimes. And it's so I find it so easy to like look at other people's like Instagrams and stuff and go, like, I got a guy that was in my year, and he's like out in Dubai shooting like beautiful drone shots and like shooting stuff out there, and you just go, wow, he's doing some really good work. And then you're like, then you have to say to yourself, going, no, you shouldn't do that, because he's his own individual and you're your own. So, but it is so hard to not look at other people and be like, oh, they're doing really well. And
to compare yourself. I think it's like a natural thing, especially in this day and age with social media. But that's the thing, it's like it's another element of that thing of comparing ourselves to things that aren't fully real life. Like it's like they're only showing you the best bits. They haven't shown you the struggle. They've
the
got
edited version.
All of you're not seeing all the failures in their life that they've made up until that point to getting to this nice one moment. It's just so it's important not to do that. I think like to pit yourself against that, because it's not representative of real life.
No, definitely.
But I do it too. And I go, fuck, I wish that was me.
And then I talked to my other half about it, and then he goes, well, the reason that they're there, Harry, is because they've put in a really load of work into their stuff. And I'm like, all right, fuck you.
Make me feel bad about it.
Make me feel even better. Thank you. No, he is like super supportive, but I like the way he's like super blunt sometimes, and I'm like, all right, I get it. All right,
sometimes you need to hear it, but
I'm not a punching bag. But what did your girlfriend do, if you don't mind me asking? Like job wise, what did she do?
At the minute, she doesn't do a lot because we're basically sort of locked down. So she's got a 12-year-old son and stuff. So basically being a mum a lot of the time.
Busy with that. Fair.
Yeah, busy with that. So, but yeah, she's great and she's really supportive and lovely.
How long have you guys been?
Always interested in what I've got to say about stuff, which is nice because I'll like ramble sometimes. I'm like, I'm really sorry. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think she does, but like in my head, I imagine that her eyes are glazing over and she's just like smiling, like but she's actually not. She's really interested. So it's really nice. We've been together. God, how long has it been now? About like 5 months. It's not like a huge amount of
Early
time.
days. Fair.
Yeah, early days, yeah. But spent a lot of time together within that because of lockdown and stuff, which is really nice. It's a weird way to get to know someone because you're spending more time than you normally would with them because you don't have other things preoccupying. Yeah, exactly. So but in a weird way, that's nice as well.
No, cool.
So
no, that's good, man. No, that's good.
But yeah, she's just really supportive and she's creative as well. She like I wish I could show you it. It's on my Instagram, but she makes it's like you get like cotton and you I've forgotten what the word for it is, but you get like a needle and you're basically pressing it in. So you're like condensing the cotton and you sort of shape it.
Cool.
There's a certain word for it, but she makes these like really nice, cute little figures, and she did one of me for Christmas, and it's just like a nice little sort of version of me with like I did have pink hair at the time, so my hair's all pink and I've got a ginger beard, just this little pug face. I'm just like, thanks, darling. I love it. Little black
nice.
beady eyes, you know.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
No,
so
that's good.
she's a creative person as well. It's just, I think at the minute it's really hard for anyone creative. I saw you know, like friends with a few actors on Facebook, and I saw like a really heartfelt thing by one of the actors I knew from Brighton about how difficult it's been like career wise for actors, and just generally being creative in any way is really hard at the minute in any sort of sense of, because it kind of it's this typical thing in society of like art always comes second to other things in industry because it's not seen as that important. Once, like, if it's like the layers of society, you have to get to a certain point in society before you can allow creativity and art to be. But that's like, I think that's a wrong way of thinking about it. I don't want to get too much into that, but I think that is the sort of mentality to things is, well, those things can wait because you know there's more important things at the minute. But realistically, like, those things are important, and you know they affect things like mental health, they affect entire industries, which they are at the minute. Do you see that Tom Cruise, like, not meltdown, but he just ends up like absolutely haggering into someone? Ooh. Yeah, I kind of agreed with him, and I don't know, like, people were saying it might be like a bit of a stunt. I kind of see what he's saying, like, you know.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I understand his passion.
Yeah, I agree with it. I just probably don't agree with like the tone that he did it in, you know.
No, but yeah, you lack context with that stuff, because it made me think immediately of the Christian Bale one from years ago.
Yeah, with the cinematographer, like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, it's just like
touching the lights now, you fucking dick.
Yeah, and he's like, would you like it if I went up there and played me a little fucking line? Huh? Yeah. But like, I think you lack context of like what kind of day they've had. Like anyone, like I've had, I mean, I wouldn't erupt in that way, but have moments where like I get to like a boiling point of like loads of shit things happening to you in a day, and then it's like you just have this one moment where you just take out on whatever's around you, and definitely on a film set I can see that happening. So I understand it from that point of view. Don't think it should obviously happen, like people should contain that or do it in a way that's a bit more constructive, but like, yeah, where he was kind of coming from wasn't necessarily being in the wrong at that point, because he was just saying like, you know, if this fucking gets shut down because of you, that is fucking like hundreds of jobs like just lost because you fucked up. Like, so
I can see it. Like, I had like pretty much nearly like a full argument with my like boyfriend about it, like discussing it and stuff.
It's interesting. That's why it's interesting, isn't it? It's such a divisive.
Yeah, he was like, that's not like justifiable. That's so like, and I was like, but I, and I was like, but no, I understand it. And he
The
said,
frustration, yeah.
but like he's not creative at all. He's a doctor, so we're like completely different
Yeah.
in terms of like career wise and stuff, and sometimes like mindset and stuff. And he's
Mhm.
like, why is everyone making such a big deal out of this? It's just a movie. It's not. It's nothing. And I was like, yeah, but it's people's like, if it gets shut down, it's people's like livelihoods and stuff, and they're living.
There's hundreds
And
of jobs that are at stake
yeah,
with that, and I think that's the thing people forget is like it would if a film like that got shut down, it would have ramifications on other productions
yeah,
getting shut down, because it's
yeah,
like, okay, well, if it's happening here on a film of this scale, like what else in this studio that is being worked on at the minute is
yeah,
also,
yeah,
gonna like be breaching those things. So I get where he's coming from, like, and it's like he's thinking about the entire industry as well. I
yeah.
think you could tell from that. And yeah, like you said, I think your boyfriend's looking at it from a way, like a
Like,
perspective of
is this really important right now? Like
yeah,
when you were
yeah,
saying about sometimes seeing your girlfriend maybe like glazing over. It's nothing like against them. It's just like
yeah.
like last night I was talking about the Golden Globes like nominations and like discussing them and stuff. And then Mosh is just like sitting there like "Mm, mm, mm."
Yeah,
or
like
like sometimes where it comes up on Facebook going, oh, it's like Christian Bale's birthday today, and then Mosh will purposely go, well, that's changed my life today, thank you. And I go,
yeah.
fuck off, it's just something that like
Yeah, it's like interesting,
it's
but
in
that's the thing. It's
it's in fun.
interesting to
It's in
you,
fun.
like, yeah.
It's not it,
Mhm.
but yeah,
Yeah.
like, you know.
I guess all that is though, as well as like people have different interests in things, and like things are important to other people. Like, that would be interesting to me. I'd be like, oh shit, is it?
Yeah.
That's cool. Like,
Yeah.
like Christian Bale, kind of thing. Or like at the minute, I'm like, I find these fucking like sagas that keep happening at the minute of like the downfall of actors for stuff, or like
Yeah.
like prolific like people, like at the minute you hear all the stuff about Army Hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been
Yeah.
following that. It's just
It's like,
juicy. It is
what?
juicy. I'm like, oh my god, he's like cannibal, like all this stuff that's coming out, and I'm like, I find it so fascinating, just because I don't obviously wish anything bad to happen to anyone like on either side of it, and I'm not like reveling in that, but it's just it's one of those weird things where it's like it's a car crash and you can't look away.
Yeah.
Like, and I find that stuff interesting in it,
Yeah,
in a
same.
different way to the creative aspect of
Yeah,
film.
same.
But yeah, some people are just like, so fucking what? like good. I'm glad that rich like, like
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
like fair enough.
But yeah, no, he only does it in fun and does it, and he like
Yeah.
purposely does it because he knows I'll automatically like take it
Yeah.
and go, well, okay then.
Yeah.
Like it's like the
Bait.
yeah, and like the redhead in me that automatically goes, all right then, no, it's fine.
Yeah, the fire. Yeah.
So,
I have it in me as well, but it's on my beard, and it's just I'll snap sometimes and be like, oh, they wanted me to do that. Fuck. They've got the reaction they wanted.
I was talking about like the whole fiasco of like Army Hammer. I was like that with like Johnny Depp and everything. I was like reading all into that and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is like a difficult thing to figure out, who's like hearsay and who's saying what, and all these weird stuff coming out that apparently like she did a shit in his bed or something like that.
It's just like fucking bizarre.
Like, what?
It becomes so bizarre and strange.
Yeah.
Like I can't remember where it was, but with the Army Hammer thing, it was like a country got involved because it was like Miss fucking Sao Paulo or somewhere, like it was like Brazil or something, and then like he had to publicly apologize to like the like whatever place it was. I'd need to find out where it was, but yeah, like it was just like because he'd apparently like slept with this woman and like written like derogatory thing. No, it was like a video of him saying like it was this Miss Universe type person, but for like a specific country, and then like he was like, it wasn't her, like to be like obviously 100% like truthful. It wasn't her. I was just making a joke. There's no way like reflects her as a person, like, and it has no impact on like that country. And he's just like publicly apologizing just for this video that had leaked of him.
And when you read all stuff like that, and then you're like, oh, you're like, thank God, like there's not a microscope over like my life, or like
yeah
that these people have
I think you have to remember that, you know, there's an argument of like, is this the price they pay for fame? But there's also the side of it of like, they're human beings and their like entire life's just been uprooted by this. And I'm not being like sympathetic to like abusers who that happens to. Like it's just happened with what's his name, Marilyn Manson.
Oh no, I haven't heard about that actually.
Okay, yeah, like so the main star from Westworld, something Woods, Evan Woods. She came out and said that like she was married. I think she was either married to him or like together with him from like the age of 18, and he's obviously like 38 or something like that. But she came out and was like, he's my abuser and like he has controlled me and brainwashed me for years, or had done. And that he's like a dangerous man. And then like loads of other claims have come out about him. And I think like Rose McGowan was married to him, and obviously she's sort of big on the feminist movement of sort of the Time's Up movements of that sort of thing happening. So all of that's now coming out and like sort of come to a head publicly. So it's like all these like little dramas that sort of just happen. It's like, who's going to be fucking next? It's kind of crazy, like, you know, and it's hard to say one way or another who's what bits are true, what's being thing. And I don't want to ever say, you know, like these people are making it up, because you'd hope they're not, you know, you'd hope, you know, they're that something's given them enough courage to come forward and put themselves in the limelight as well as whoever the person is. So like that much I have like admiration for, but it's hard as just like a person of the public to really have an input in it. But people do, and people get really passionate about it and stuff. And I'm like, but the thing is, I don't fucking know like one way or another if this person did it or not. And it's like, I don't want to, I'm sitting up here on the fence like a lot of the time, because I'm like, I don't know enough about it. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know them personally.
Yeah, it's like you see all those like petitions to like get Johnny Depp back on like the Pirates films and stuff like that. And I keep getting, because I've like obviously clicked on a lot of stuff involving it, I keep getting like love Johnny Depp pages where it's just pictures of Johnny Depp going, he's such a beautiful human being and stuff like this.
Yeah, but is he? I mean, he's a human being for sure, and I don't like have anything against him. Just like, it's just, I don't know. Like,
and you know, toxic things like that. You know, with two people could.
Yeah, like
don't know.
It's just a bad relationship. They're two people involved in probably a relationship where they both did things wrong, but it's become so public that everyone has is like picking a side. It's like Civil War, you know, Marvel is Civil War, but with fucking like Johnny Depp. To be honest, my opinion of that is that the Pirates of the Caribbean films were already a lost cause. Johnny Depp coming back to them will not fix that.
Gonna save
they
them,
were fucked from like 4 onwards. They should have stopped at 3.
3 was like
They really got away from the idea of who Jack Sparrow as a character was as well. Like, I watched 5.
It turned into a cliche. It was like,
he turns into an actual idiot. Like he's actually like a moron. Everything he does is based on luck, which he isn't that in like the originals. Like, he actually
in the first one, it's like, oh, this guy's like seeing steps ahead here, like, you know.
Yeah, he is literally playing 4D chess, and that's his genius. Is he comes across as like a fucking moron, but he's actually quite clever. Like, and they sort of play on that throughout that whole trilogy. And then they just got away from it. It just was like a fucking like Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah, and
wannabe. By the end,
I just think it was stupid that it was just dumb to put him as the front main character as well. I was like, that's not how that character was designed
Yeah.
to be. Like, you know, actually,
Yeah, he's sort of over the characters center around him weirdly,
Yeah.
and it's like I like that about the first one. I watched it when I was obviously really young at the cinema, and I remember even then thinking, "Oh, so he's the main character," and I was like, "Oh no!" But then there's like
the other two.
there's the other two, and I was like, "Oh, but they're like the main characters," and I was like, "Well, he seems like the main character. He's obviously going to get the girl, and he doesn't like get those typical tropes of like when you're a kid, obviously that you sort of fed as like what's going to happen in a film." And yeah, it sort of happened in a weird way that wasn't that at all, and there's sort of like this weird love triangle between them all. But I just liked how they like play out his character throughout that first trilogy. It was great, but lost cause after that, and I don't think getting him back for it.
And in like the last one, they like was clutching for straws, and they get like Orlando Bloom back for like a
for like 5 seconds.
And I was paying attention to his acting. I was like, his character did not sound like that whatsoever in the other ones. I was like, and whenever I think of Orlando Bloom now, I just think about how much Alkin doesn't like him. He says like he cannot act for shit. He says like the worst person in Hollywood, and he like can't act for shit. Like he was like Orlando Bloom. I was like, oh, shade. But yeah, I was like that they were clutching for straws. I just think it's so sad when Hollywood like sees this thing and then they just do it to death until it's like, oh, like literally just fine. You got so many other things. Just like stop. We're good. We're good. Stop there. Don't need to do anymore. Stop there. So
it's like Star Wars. Like I thought I was getting fed up with Star Wars, but Mandalorian's kind of brought it back for me. I'm like the Star Wars that I love now is the like Filoni and Favreau, Clone Wars animated series, Mandalorian, like all of that is just amazing, and that's how Star Wars is to me now. Like I find more enjoyment in those small, lower budget TV shows than I did in that entire sort of new trilogy. But to be fair, like the same with the sort of prequels, like I've never really enjoyed one of those films entirely on its own. I tell you what, actually, that's a lie. I'm one of the people who really liked Last Jedi, and I really liked what he was doing with it.
Yeah, no,
Last Jedi is brilliant.
I like really enjoyed the massive swings he was doing like towards different things and stuff like that.
Absolutely upsetting the status quo of like what you expect from a Star Wars film. It's like we've got the big bad here that we've sort of hyped up to be the new emperor in the new one, and it's like, oh, we'll have like the climax here. It's kind of going to end in the same way it does, and then you'll have him in the last one. They were like, no, we'll just kill him. Like, and then so the idea for the last film should have been like this weird, almost like balancing of the force, and it be about these two oppositional sides, but with no big linchpin kind of Sith Lord above that, like Emperor. But they basically just were like, no, it's not going to work, and then went back to literally the Emperor, like for that, it's like they got scared and were like, oh, this is too risky, like to do it this way.
Literally, I think I read or heard someone describe it as in like, you know, the like fire alarms in buildings where you break the glass. Someone described it saying that was what the Emperor was. They were like, oh fuck, all this negative towards the last one, let's get the Emperor back.
100% you can tell it's that, because there's no mention of the fucking Emperor in any way, like no hint at him, nothing, until that final film, and it's like, oh, by the way, the Emperor's been here the whole fucking time, like, and it's just sort of like and then it's like, oh, and Snoke clones. That explains that one. Like, it's just a clone that the Emperor had in place as a puppet for him, so he doesn't matter. And it just undid all of the work from Last Jedi. Which was a real shame, because Last Jedi was like a ballsy move. Like, it was like, we're gonna do something different. Not everything worked, but it was in general a more refreshing take.
It's not a perfect film. Like the Canto Bite stuff is pretty much worthless.
I think that's because he was struggling to obviously figure out what to do with those characters. That
yeah.
it's like there's too many main characters. you know?
Yeah. And I can understand why John Boyega has come out and been a bit like pissed because
Yeah.
in that first like promotional campaign of the Force Awakens, it was like here's this stormtrooper that happens to be black, and you're like, oh cool, this is gonna be like a
I
main,
genuinely was like, he's gonna be like
like yeah
be force sensitive or something. I thought that's what was gonna happen, and it was like, oh, okay, they're going with
yeah
like.
yeah, and then they obviously break the glass with that, and they sort of hint
Mhm.
to that in the last one. You're like, all right, it's
Yeah.
probably a bit late for that, but
Yeah.
but yeah, I just think it's so sad how much they just dropped the ball for it all. Really, to
Yeah,
be honest.
100%.
I feel like they completely wasted their opportunity for that.
But that's why I like love what they're doing now with like
Yeah.
Fellaini and Favreau's
Favreau's.
take on.
Mm.
Yeah, John Favreau's just like, I mean, he had Marvel, didn't he? Like, and just set up that, and I feel like he's doing the same for Star
Yeah.
Wars. It's like, all right, like,
Everyone's like waving the flag for like Kathleen Kennedy, fuck off, and let John.
yeah,
like,
just let John Favreau, like, get Feige in there, like, or Feige, however you want to pronounce his name. Get him in there, like, just let them take over, and I guarantee you'll have success in terms of that as a franchise going forward, because it's exciting, like all the new series they've got lined up and stuff.
It's like so much.
It feels like there's too much there for me that I probably won't enjoy everything there, but I feel like there's enough variety of shows there that they can try some ballsy stuff with different people and see what's successful off the back of it.
I think it's really interesting that you see all the time if they're shooting like a new series of Mandalorian and stuff, like George Lucas is there. You're like, okay, this is really interesting. I was like, so it can't just be him coming in to just be like, oh hello. I can't do his voice. His voice is hilarious. Like the most boringest sounding tone man ever in life.
Hello.
But,
yeah.
That
was almost like two Alan Rickman there. I was like, I'm George Lucas, the director of the first Star Wars film.
But no, you see pictures of him like on the set and stuff, and you're like, okay, I think eventually in like a few years, George will be around more than
hopefully, yeah.
I
mean, he's not a good
John
director. He has some interesting ideas. He's a shit director.
Like some great concepts and great like like.
There's a reason he handed it over to other people, like for the others, after the first one, because it was like, I've got something here, I just need some help with it, like, but just give it to the right people, like. But plus, they seem to be going in the right direction with it, which is nice.
Yeah, and plus, I think he like nearly had a heart attack on the first one or something like that. I read that.
Yeah,
he like was having heart palpitations.
Well, I don't fucking blame him because film sets are stressful places to be.
Especially Bless. I watched like the documentary of like I think it's called like it's like about the extras on the first one. It's like they talk to the extras, and they were like the crew on that, because obviously it was predominantly shot here. They were like the British crew were like ripping the piss out of like going, what the fuck is all this like?
Yeah.
Why is there a hairy man walking around that like doesn't speak and doesn't wear any pants?
I love it. It's brilliant.
I could see because us Brits, we don't hold back really.
Yeah, we don't.
So but no, I am excited to see what they do. I'm just a bit concerned that Disney had just got so much now that it's getting a bit to the point they're going, oh, this is a bit monopoly, like they got everything now.
Yeah, they have a lot of fingers in a lot of pies.
Yeah.
What was the other one that I saw? They're doing a Bob's Burgers movie.
Oh yes,
Disney is though, and I was like, Disney? It's like, no, it's Bob's Burgers. Disney can't do this.
But yeah, no. After getting Fox as well, they've got so much like shit.
Yeah, they've got a lot to play with there.
Yeah.
God, it's gonna be weird. Like if they do an alien, like there's just stuff that I can't wrap my head around. Obviously, it's gonna keep like the Fox name for like stuff that's probably a bit more
Like,
adult. I'd
yeah.
say to keep that image of, because this is like a weird balance, isn't there? I wonder if they would do a Deadpool film, if they would keep it under the Fox name, even though it's like Disney and
Yeah.
Marvel.
I think
Because
I think Feige talked about it like a few weeks ago. They said that they're like Ryan is talking with them about a script and stuff, and it's going to be R-rated. But
yeah,
yeah,
I
I
wonder
don't.
if they. Do you know what? If I was Disney, this is the move I would make. This is
All
the
right,
baller ass
all
move
right.
that I would make.
Disney, listen, everyone.
Everyone's expecting it to be a Disneyfication of that character, so therefore like watered down, right? Like
Yeah.
they can't swear, do that. I think Disney should just go balls to the wall and make it the most fucking extreme version of Deadpool they possibly can. Like
Yeah.
go the other end of the spectrum, be like, and then no one would ever question it again that like Disney can do 18 rated stuff like that. Like,
And they could,
you know,
and they could proper lean into it, like him being owned by Disney now. He could like chuck
exactly
in jokes and like talk about the offensive stuff in like Disney stuff, like
I think Disney should just allow free reign to be like, just do whatever you want,
like
and them to do that.
They could lean into the black crows in fucking Dumbo that are really offensive nowadays. Like,
Oh fucking hell, yeah! Oh god, it's like the crows from Dumbo. We're bringing them back.
Yeah.
You know what's that other film? Was it Song of the South or something like that? Fucking, we're bringing it back.
Bring it back.
There's gonna be slavery in this film. There's gonna be all sorts.
Christ, yeah, no, it will be interesting and to see what Feige will do with all that stuff.
Yeah,
he's a fucking like Jesus. He no wonder
he gets his audience. He's a genius, for that.
Yeah, he's like what Kathleen Kennedy was when she was just a producer. Like since taking on like Star Wars, she's like dipped.
I don't even think it's that. I think there's just too much control from the sort of head execs at Disney, and there's this sort of like status quo that they have to sort of like kind of stay almost towing the line with those types of films, because they know, regardless of if it's well received in that sense, that it's going to sell a lot of tickets because it's a fucking Star Wars film. And if they stray too far, it's going to be too off-putting, and you might get people like me who liked The Last Jedi for whatever reason, but you're going to get a lot of people that are put off by that as well, because it's not what they're fucking used to. Like they're accounting for the fact that there's a general people there that probably don't give a shit that the film had really bad scripting, plot holes and stuff like that. In the last one, there's people that won't have noticed and be like, I quite liked it, like little kids and mums and stuff.
Everything was so convenient. Every problem they had, they just
oh, that bit was really cool, like with the horses on the like, it doesn't matter like why or how, but like these horses are riding on top of that was a really cool segment. Like there's people out there that will agree with that, like and that's fair enough.
Yeah, it's like they just happened to fall into this sand pit that led to a dagger that could show them where they needed to go. Like
yeah, there's a lot wrong with it. I could sit here all day and chew that film apart.
But then like I have a family friend that he like has worked on all of the new Disney like Star Wars films.
Okay.
And he's one of the like puppet operators. He like one of the team that helps like bring BB-8 to life, and also worked with Frank Oz when they were doing the scene of Yoda in The Last Jedi and stuff.
Yeah,
like proper like sick.
That's awesome, because like that's the stuff that's still there. That's probably amazing to have like worked on the films for that. So I'm not like trying to
And he
be critical of those things, because
and he was obviously like a kid when the first one came out, so that must be like an amazing big thing for him to do. Like, trust me, if I got offered to like work on one of those, even if the script was fucking garbage, you'd be like,
it's a Star Wars film.
All right, thanks.
Like,
I'll go to the desert and whatever. I'll burn like fuck, but I'll go to the desert.
I'll do it. Yeah. I love it. It's the reason like you get so many, cameos of stormtroopers, because people just jumping at the fucking chance to be like in it in some capacity. It's like, I don't care what it is. Make me a fucking droid. Like, make me like a head that doesn't move in the corner or something. I'll be in it. Yeah.
And that seems to be the thing that's going on with Marvel now as well. That people are like, like Matt Damon showing up in Ragnarok playing Loki as the actor.
Yeah,
You're
I
like,
love that. Do you know what? I absolutely loved it. It's such a good film, Thor Ragnarok, because it's Taika Waititi. Like, it felt like a lot of these films like water down directors' style, like stylistic tendencies, because they end up just being molding into the Marvel sort of mold, as opposed to the other way around. But he literally is like, you can tell he's like a true auteur, because he fucking just took the Marvel concept and was like, all right, well, I'm gonna do it, but like as a Taika Waititi film. And it is obviously generic in certain ways, but it's very much like his film.
Yeah. Like,
it's brilliant.
The same as his episode, like in the first season of Mandalorian. Like, as soon as it starts and you have that band, like that weird comedy bit with the two stormtroopers sitting on their bikes, you're like, okay, this is a Taika Waititi episode. You can tell.
Yeah, just like more so, I think, in Ragnarok, but like in that, it's him sneaking his own sort of stylistic tendencies in there, which is lovely. Like,
and Jojo Rabbit was one of my favorite films, like last year. So I really
it's a really good film. I enjoyed it too. I did. I'm I said I'm reading Twilight. The other side to that is I'm watching, because it's like half of it is the literature side and the other half is films. So like we're doing, obviously, because it's gothic lit, the theme of this week is vampires, believe it or not. So I'm the other side to that is I have to watch What We Do in the Shadows, which I've seen like a million times, but like it's just like an excuse to watch that film again.
Have you checked out the TV show? I haven't.
Yes, the first season of it. I've not watched the second yet, but it's one of those things where I was like, I've got that to watch, and I've just never got round to watching the second season. But first season's really good. I really enjoyed it. Check it out. It keeps a lot of the feelings of that, but it's just like a really good, the way it's sort of like serialized episode to episode, how it sort of starts again, but there's this sort of through line. Like, it's something that rarely you get in comedy TV series these days. But it's really good. And I've been enjoying it.
No, sick. I feel like we need to wrap this up, because we've been like talking for like 2 hours.
Fair enough.
But
it's gone really quickly, to be fair, though.
No, thanks, man. I feel like we should end off with, like, do you have a particular film or TV show that you think is underrated at the moment, or in history you feel like there's one that people need to go out and search and like find it and watch it? That particular gem out there,
there's a film, one of my favorite films, and I, without a doubt, I'll mention it to people and they'll be like, never heard of it or haven't seen it. It's one of my favorite films.
I'm gonna be like,
so you might do that too, but this is genuinely one of these films that I just watch, and I watch it a lot. Martin Scorsese film, right? The Color of Money, about pool hustling. Tom Cruise, Paul Newman.
Never seen it.
Brilliant. Little his little Easter egg in there. There's a scene in it where Tom Cruise has a pool cue in like a little nice fancy case, and the guy's like asking to him, he's sat there grinning to himself, and the guy's like, what have you got in there? And he goes, in here, and then does this like cheesy smile, and then like the music comes up and it's just like Doom, and like opens it, and it's just his pool cue. Like, but they took that scene, and that is the reason that Doom is called Doom, the video game.
Really?
From that scene. Because the guy who made Doom saw that scene and was like, that's fucking cool, and then was like, I'm gonna call my video game Doom. So, but really, really good film. Just about pool hustling, set in the 80s, really good soundtrack, just good vibe to it, good acting. Paul Newman's like
Yeah,
brilliant.
Paul Newman is such a
Yeah.
good actor. Such a good
Mhm.
actor. Like
Yeah, he's one of my faves.
Bush Cassidy and the Sundance Kid is
Yes.
such a good fucking western. So
Yeah.
good, so good. That's one of those films that I could sit down and probably at least watch like maybe like twice a year or whatever.
Oh, it's brilliant because it's
Yeah.
like a western, but it's also just a really funny sort of
Yeah.
drama, like comedy about like two mates, like and just a weird love
Yeah.
triangle with a woman.
Yeah, that have really found themselves in the shit somehow, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
so-
it's brilliant. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Mars. I really appreciate it. It's been really good chatting.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't,
been great.
I don't know if I should like chop this in half and do
like a two.
do-
Is this
do
the
a
longest
two-part.
podcast you've had on here?
Yeah. Normally they're like. Actually, to be honest, when I normally get guests on, it depends on the person, but normally we do end up chatting for like fucking like so long.
Yeah.
And end up
Well-
going in so many different directions. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I won't be upset if you need to edit it down or whatever.
Oh,
Don't
no.
worry,
It's
cut out
no,
whatever you want.
It's gold, man. It's gold. No.
Yeah.
It's good. I really appreciate it. It's been a good laugh. And next time we get to talk about a bit more about films and stuff. But
Yeah, definitely. And
yeah.
hopefully I'll get a podcast sorted
Yeah.
at some point and
Have you got-
can have you on as well.
Yeah. Have you got any name ideas for it?
Yeah, like
Yeah?
the name is perfect.
Okay.
It's an idea for a blog as well. So you've got mise en scène,
Oh, yeah.
miles on scène,
Hey,
or miles on scene.
that's sick.
Miles, it works in
That's
so many
sick.
different ways.
That's
There
sick,
you go.
man.
That's what it would
Cool.
be called.
No, sick, man. All right, you take care, and we'll chat again soon and stuff.
Yeah, hopefully catch up soon.
And that was the second half of me and Miles chatting. Yeah, we covered a lot in that second part of the convo, including chatting a bit of Star Wars, which is always cool with me. And yeah, and chatting a bit more about film school and stuff like that. Thanks again, Miles, for coming on. It was a super laugh. It'd be awesome to have you on again, and it'd be sick to come onto your podcast when you got it all set up. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this episode and enjoy the rest of the snow. And until next time, you guys take care. I like the way I've got into the habit of forgetting to introduce my funny bit at the end. So I got sent this a couple of weeks ago from somebody, and it just made me laugh. So whoever sent it to me, I very much appreciate it. And it's just something to make you chuckle in these COVID times. Take care.
Hello.
Oh, hi. Is this the chat line?
That's right, my love.
The pre-COVID chat line?
Yes. Why don't you tell me your fantasy? Your pre-COVID fantasy.
I'm not sure I can.
Don't be embarrassed, darling. I've heard it all before.
Okay, well, I suppose I'd love to go to the pub with my mates.
You open the door, and it's heaving. You haven't even booked a table, so you have to stand at the bar.
I'll keep talking.
You rip open a packet of salt and vinegar walkers and you share them with a group of friends. And you can't even remember the last time you washed your hands.
Oh, this is good.
And people are singing karaoke in the corner and they're having so much fun. And you don't even notice how much spit is getting on the microphone.
What are we wearing?
No one's wearing a mask. It would be considered weird to wear a mask.
Oh, God, don't stop.
And the football's on in the corner, and your favourite team's just scored, and you all stand up, and you're all hugging each other because you're so happy.
Yes.
Hello?